Rise up, the Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. The crew is back, and now it's time to rise up. The Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. Rise up, rise up. The Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. The crew is back, and now it's time to rise up. The Dukes are back, and now it's time to rise up. Rise up.
And we're back to the D's on Fire podcast for another week of Duquesne basketball. 2 women's games, 1 men's game this past week. I think the biggest story is Tess Myers setting a new school record for 3-pointers made today. We're recording on a Thursday. What was it? 11 of 14 from 3.
11 of 16.
11 of 16. Sorry. Still incredibly impressive.
35 points, 12 of 18 overall. So out of her 18 field goals, 16 were threes.
She made 1 non-3 of the game.
But yeah, that's historic numbers, obviously.
Yeah, and it's the first comfortable win the women's team has had all season. Really needed that. They were coming off of a tough loss at home, then an overtime game, then a double overtime game. So they really needed a nice, comfortable win. It was at La Roche because of I think graduation was going on at the gym. So poor scheduling there. But yeah, a great win for the women's team. And I think the better game this past week for them, well, entertaining wise, was definitely the double OT thriller against Kent State. But to lead off the show, I feel like we have to give props to a record-breaking performance. No,
absolutely. When you're, I wish Day had he needs a shooting performance like Tess had today. So but kudos to her. Also 5 rebounds in this game, like getting it done on the glass. And Megan McConnell just, orchestrating everything as she normally does.
Yeah. I mean, Tess, we mentioned her last year when she was, I think, top 3 in 3-pointers made in the country at one point last year. So shoot. I don't know what to tell you. She's one of the most pure shooters Duquesne's ever had. And Josh Taylor, one of the frequent announcers, says pretty regularly, all she needs to do is make 1 and she'll get on a roll. And that definitely happened today.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a better feeling to have than when you're just like, she was obviously in the zone.
Yeah.
The zone is like such precious basketball. I don't even know what to call it, but like it's so precious when you're in the zone like that.
Yeah, I mean, the hoop feels like it's 3 sizes bigger, and you just can't miss. No matter how you're shooting it at that point, it's just it's going in. A lot of her threes were spot up threes. That wasn't. I don't think there was a single one where she had to really create her own space. So it was great, well run offense that gave her a bunch of open looks. She just kept hitting them. And I mean, when you're that hot, you got to keep running plays to her. There's just no question about that.
Yeah. And now this team is 6-3, not like totally doom and gloom anymore. It's starting to, hopefully this is springboards them to like a decent run of games, decent run of wins.
Yeah. I mean, back-to-back games of 89 points scored. Like I said, the one game was double OT that got them there, but hey, lemon 80, they hit it twice. So hopefully the offense keeps going. And hi, Hutch, if you're there.
Yeah, my wife just walked in on us, even though I texted her. So she just mouthed sorry. So all right, see ya.
From the guy's standpoint, I mean, there was a game. Obviously, I think one of the bigger pieces of news that I saw was Trey Williams tweeted out that he's back. So he's back in the rotation starting next game against Bradley. And that'll be interesting to see if he just eats Chabi's minutes or how they incorporate that. But I definitely don't think the Drames or Savrasov should be playing less minutes.
No, I think I would personally want Bari's minutes to be the ones that are sacrificed. Um, Trey Williams is like a solid. I mean, he's a leader on this team. Oldest is he's definitely the
Definitely
longest tenured Duke, right? So I mean, it's a pretty easy decision in my opinion.
Yeah. When they went to Navy for that tournament game, well, sort of mid-season tournament, against the College of Charleston, and they did all the activities. The two captains that did the activities with the coaches was Rozier and Trey Williams. So Pirate Trey making his return.
Yeah.
Wish he could bring the eye patch back, even though he doesn't need it, and just rock the bandana. But I don't know. There's something about that. It's just like Hoodie Mello. Whenever he's back and he's rocking a bandana, I feel like he's gonna be on a whole nother level.
Yeah, I'm excited for him to come back. I think he's needed. I think he's shown I think we've missed him in these games. I know Dixon has been playing really well. Drame, obviously, both the Drames been playing really well, but I don't know. It feels like his presence is missed, honestly. I've felt it over these last 2 or 3, 4 games.
Yeah, and we've alluded to this, but I know you found a stat that you wanted to share about plus minus to highlight the possible need for that extra big to come into the rotation.
Yeah, so these are I personally accumulated these. These are on Duquesne's website. They're in PDF form, so unfortunately I have to like copy and paste them into Excel and all this other stuff. So apologies if I miss
Missed
copy
the
paste
number
something, but
somewhere. Yeah.
I think they're good. Um so and I'm not a huge honestly, I'm not a big fan of plus minus numbers. I think they're kind of like they can easily paint a picture, but it doesn't tell the full story. It's just like, is your team winning when you're on the floor? You don't necessarily need to, you individually don't need to be contributing that much. I like box plus minus better, but either way, it does tell a story overall. So, um, overall, just straight up plus minus, this team has a winning record. So you would think majority of the players are going to be pretty high in plus, right? That seems to be the case. Highest player is Fusini Drame with overall in the season plus 94 on the season. That's about plus 10 when he's on the floor on average. Awesome number. Doesn't even start, which is pretty crazy. Second is Dixon. Not that surprising. Day third. But what we were alluding to before, Barre unfortunately is the only starter who's a minus on the floor when he's on there. He's minus 15 overall in the season.
What's Savrasov's number? I'm curious.
He's plus 11 right now.
Okay. Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
but what and I was looking at box plus minus earlier. I think he's like Savrasov is like third in overall in the team on box plus minus. So
That also makes sense to me. But I was thinking early on in the season, he was struggling to find his stride on the team, and I feel like that was probably contributing. And that's where the Drames picked up so much was whenever they subbed in, their energy is just ridiculous when they come off the bench, and that showed in that St. Peter's game.
yeah. That game is exactly what led me to look at those stats because as soon as Barre came off in the first half and the Drames came on with Dixon, it was both the Drames and Dixon were subbed on. I forget who else, but I know Barre definitely was off the floor. Went on a big run, created a big lead, then got subbed out later in that first half, lost the lead, like the big cushion of a lead immediately. And I'm like, this is in my opinion, I starkly noticed when it was Barre specifically who was coming off. But it's the combination of Dixon and Fusini Drame coming on at the same time. So whoever he subs on for, whether it's Savrasov or Day Day. I mean, he subs in for any of those guys, whoever needs a rest.
Yeah. And I do think I mean, if the efficiency's there, they're going to be playing a bunch of minutes regardless. And Dan Brot's brought up the fact that it doesn't really matter who starts the game. But it feels like their energy off the bench is needed, and it's always delivered. So
Yeah, and I like when the Dramas play together. I mean, you can clearly see that they obviously have a chemistry together. But like it's true. Like you can see when they both play together when they're both on the floor together.
Yeah, in one of the post game press conference excerpts that I really liked was Fusini mentioning that he and his brother have been used to a winning culture. Duquesne's had a winning culture over the past few years here, especially with Dambrot's staff, and they want to just be parts of the puzzle. They don't care what role they're needed, whatever they're called for, they're going to do to their best of their abilities. Um, truly, truly great team players that are willing to mold to whatever's needed, and they have the skill set, I think, to really be guys who can mold however they're needed.
Yeah, I think Fusini specifically just because he's like kind of that small ball five at times. I mean, he's leading this team in rebounding overall. And I forgot I pasted the box plus minus number. Savrasov is second on the team in box plus minus with Trey Clark first. 6.3 for Trey Clark. Savrasov is 5.4, which I looked up to like put to kind of translate that in NBA terms, like anything above a 6 is an all NBA season. So that's like I don't know, top whatever player in college basketball.
Yeah, that checks out. Trey Clark just dominates games when he wants to, offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel really good. There's only one game to watch, and they didn't blow. Sorry.
You gotta
They didn't,
swallow those.
yeah,
You gotta be more professional than that for us.
yeah.
Come on.
That's my bad. They didn't
It
blow.
is 10 o'clock. I'll give you it's 10 o'clock at night on a weekday.
They didn't blow St. Peter's out by any means, but they never. It was another one of those games where you never really felt too concerned about how the game was going to go.
Yeah, to me, this was one of those I forget which game it was where I was kind of bored at watching the game. Do you remember where which one? Well, I guess I
Well,
can
the
pull it
the
up.
Marshall game, we talked about how the pacing was so bad.
It was UC Irvine, I guess, was the boring one because that was 66-62. Maybe it
Maybe,
was Marshall. I don't know. Either way, this was kind of a boring game in my opinion. Um,
but that was also known coming in because
yeah,
St. Peter's style of play is the slow, kill the clock, hack kind of style. So
but yeah, and also like Duquesne didn't play particularly well. I mean, I have the numbers up now. We shot 40% overall as a team, 24% from three. Not one of our better offensive nights. Day again, not really shooting that well from the floor, but he's been getting to the line a lot. That's the other stat I have that kind of caught my eye. He's top 25 in the country in free throw percentage. And on top of that, he's like by far he has the most free throw attempts out of that top 25. Like the he has 62 attempts. Second closest player has 43
yeah,
in that top 25. So it's good that he's getting to the line at least when he's not, clicking on all cylinders from three, especially.
and that was one of our bigger grapes last year.
Yeah, so I'll give him credit there. I will say a lot of that's garbage time fouls. But hey, they're going in. Like he's shooting 93%. So I'm not gonna nitpick everything. Like they're going in.
Yeah, and I'm curious how many of those are actually three pointers that he got fouled on because it feels like he gets a bunch of those. But again, doesn't really matter.
He's getting fouled. I mean, look, it's not necessarily the way I would ideally envision it, but the dude's getting the line. He's making free throws. I'll stop complaining.
Yeah, and he did start off the game with that three that seemed to uh light up the game to start it off, and then it kind of died down from there.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any like major sweeping notes from that game specifically?
No, I mean my big takeaways were the Drame's energy off the bench that like almost
Yeah.
steal early on in the game, and then
Yeah.
they passed it. Like that was that could have been a true highlight moment. No, it was kind of a regular game, which I'm very in favor of,
Yeah.
especially with comparing to a few years ago, and back in pre-Dambrot days. So, no, looking forward to the games upcoming for them. I did let you know beforehand. I was looking forward to these games a little more before these teams started losing, right before they were going to play us. Bradley's on a 3-game losing streak, and Santa Clara, I think, is on a 4-game losing streak. So we're playing well, and they looked good record wise before the last 2 weeks. So
Yeah. They're both ranked below 100 per Ken Palm. The only other thing I'll say with Trey Clark, like, well, in relation to the St. Peter's game, but it's also just overall in the season. I feel like he's taken a little too many, just that one dribble in your face three. They're not really going in. And he's not even like Day Day will at least do a hesitation dribble of some sort and step back and try and create some space. Trey's just kind of shooting right in front of the guy's face. And he's not that great of a 3-point shooter to be doing that, like on high volume.
I
That's
mean,
that's my only gripe. That was the only other note worth noting.
I
And I don't know.
I
Maybe
think
it's just me, old man take. I don't know.
no, I think it's similar to what Dan Brott said about Trey before, where you take the good and the bad with him. He's such an absurd talent that like he's gonna
He earned some of those. I
yeah.
just think it's like he's slightly over the edge for my liking. Like he's earned like 2 or 3 of those a game, but I feel like now it's becoming 4 or 5, maybe 6 a game.
Yeah, I get it. It's like
Especially what drives me nuts is when he get has a catch and shoot three that is open, takes a
and then
pump fake, and then shoots like
the
the man's already
same
there.
shot.
Like if
Yeah.
you're gonna pump fake, then drive or kick it. Don't shoot when now you're covered. Like just take the catch and shoot three. That's like the James Harden effect when I was watching him all the time. He wouldn't take catch and shoot threes. He loved taking the one dribble and then taking a contested three.
Well, yeah, I guess the I guess the nitpicking here is because there's so much potential too,
Right.
where he really could be uh a name throughout all of college basketball where people go, wow, this is one of the top guys in the country. Um, and that's kind of the next step is cutting out all of the inefficiencies to get as as good of a performance consistently as you can.
Yeah, all I'm saying is like if he takes, let's say, I think they're three too many. So he's taking like probably 5 of those shots overall, right? If he just pump fakes and blows by that guy, he has blow by speed. I mean, he has one of the best blow by speeds I've seen in college basketball, like straight up. If he just does that, I mean, that's one less missed shot, one more made shot, little things, like you said, the little things will add up in a what will be a very tough A10 conference schedule coming up.
Yeah, I looked at those net rankings for the schedule. It is not a good pod for me. I'm sorry. Um, but I think we have 9 Q1 or Q2 games for conference play right now based off of where teams are. So that's got to be the most in the A10 schedule, which would be great for at-large chances. And I also saw St. Joe's and Dayton both got votes for the top 25 this past week.
Mhm.
So
My
A-
my the
A10's a power conference.
yeah, I've talked about him before. The St. Joe's person I work with, he was like, I mean, he was making the case for top 25. So I was like, you have a point.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean,
It'll be
yeah,
that
I'm
much
not. I
better
can't
for
be
our
mad.
resume when we beat them.
And I was looking at tickets today. I got those tickets last year for I think it was a Christmas present. They couldn't have been more than like $30 each. They're like up to $55 this year. So that's not just inflation, folks.
Yeah.
But I will be going. I will be paying it. My hard-earned money.
To see the Dukes just dominate by shooting threes again.
We'll see. Yeah, that was a high-scoring game last year, but right now I have Kempom up, and we're projected to lose that game.
Oh yeah.
It's at St. Joe's, so that makes sense. I mean, and they're very good, so that's not surprising. But that is actually that's the next loss that's projected in Kempom's schedule, and there's like 7 games in between now and then.
Yeah, and
So we have quite a streak coming up.
Well, maybe
on paper.
Right. I was trying to think in my preseason predictions. I think I had us at 2 losses throughout non-con.
Yeah, but I think
I got them wrong.
I think it opened like these first 9 games were definitely undefeated though.
I think I probably said College of Charleston,
maybe Nebraska,
and I think my picks were College of Charleston and Nebraska were the losses.
There was quite a win streak in there. I remember.
Yeah. Well, conference play, I expected.
No, for non-conference. I mean, we don't have to. Our memories stink, and we didn't write them down. We could always look back. I guess
go back. We could be one of the few people that listen to the podcast episodes, but.
But yeah, I mean, you're not too far off. There's only 2 losses so far.
Women's team, I'm a little more off. I think I predicted like 2 for the full season. So
yeah, got a little ahead of your skis there.
Yeah, but that's all right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm a fan. It's understood. There's built-in bias on these picks.
100%.
Also, St. Bonaventure, they were supposed to be bad. They looked bad at the start of the season, and now they look decent again, and the rivalry's back on, which is unfortunate. I was looking forward to just a season of kind of Lily Bonaventure. Don't have to worry about them.
Yeah. But then looks like Richmond's just kind of okay right now. So
yeah,
maybe we'll kind of take that.
Yeah. And there's the other New York team that still hasn't looked all that great.
No.
So we got those games hopefully to look forward to.
But yeah, I think us just talking about conference play just shows like how kind of over the non-conference we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of our last non-con games is that Cleary game where we're playing them because their head coach is a former assistant under Dan Brutt for so many of his coaching years. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know how closely I'll be paying attention to that game.
Yeah, I think that game will be one where we really try to get Zach to do the mid-season review and talk about expectations pod, because
perfect.
I mean, we're already struggling, and this is much better opponent than that. So,
speaking of that, I just thought of something with and not paying attention to games. Is the Bradley game, is that going to be streamed? Because I remember on the last broadcast they said that's just radio, and I don't know if that's been updated or not.
Yeah, I think that's still the case because it's the game in Akron, and those games are always in the tiny gym. Tickets are free, so if you want to make for you like 7-hour trip
on a Monday, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. When I have to be in the office.
Yeah.
In Delaware.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. So yeah,
so I'll see you there, right?
we might be skipping a podcast that week.
Yeah.
Not skipping, but I mean,
yeah, it's
I don't know what to do.
There's not going to be any analysis as to what we saw. It'll be a box score analysis, I guess.
Yeah. Are there even apps that you can download to broadcast
I'll follow on
college
Twitter.
yeah, I don't know.
Periscope used to be a thing. That was fun. I remember
I
watching
sounded
Granny
really old
Periscope
there, well, like
video.
trying to find a radio station, and your first inclination was, yeah, I'll probably follow on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry, X.
yeah, and you're somehow older than me, which but no one would tell the way I talk.
Yeah, there's Periscope feed one of the years from I think Johnny the Bluff Blog on X or Twitter. He did the brave thing of trying to get some cell phone video of the end of the game because it was a really tight one. He was against Colgate last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, Colgate.
Um, but yeah, no, it's basically just following random people on Twitter to get some analysis of what's going on, and that's about it. Maybe we'll get a guest on of somebody who actually goes to the game and get their takes. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know if that was like at the time it's only radio and then they'll figure out the streaming later, but
No,
I
it's
guess
only
not. That was
radio.
just me being hopeful.
Yeah, no. Instagram stories. The women's team did that for the La Roche game today because it wasn't on TV or a stream or anything. They just did a bunch of Instagram stories of the game, a little more than usual, I should say. So
So are those just clips of the game?
basically, they're like live recording of plays of the game and then they post them. So it's usually scoring plays, not much defense shown, but hey, it's some game that you can actually watch.
I'm actually cringing at myself talking. Like hearing myself talk with knowing how old I am. Like it's pathetic, but oh well.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be sounding this.
I am who I am. But yeah, I don't really yeah, this was a slow week. We had one game and it happened like almost a week ago.
Yeah. The only other news is they did officially announce the Hall of Fame members for the newest class for Duquesne. It is Christian Kuntz. It is the football team that made the playoffs for the first time, the women's basketball team that made the NCAA tournament for the first time, and the volleyball team that made the tournament. I think it was my freshman year, and I think they chose like one person from each of those classes to be like a special honoree. April Robinson, Christian Kuntz, and then I don't remember the volleyball player off the top of my head. But yeah, it unofficially, I'll be up there as a practice player for the Hall of Fame women's basketball class. So
There you go.
there you go, peak athletic achievement right there. Duquesne Hall of Famer.
They'll raise like maybe I don't know, you could cut like a shoelace from one of your shoes from that season and then just put it somewhere in the building.
I'll donate it to the Duquesne Hall of Fame.
There you go.
I'll find some of my practice squad gear.
Yeah, laminate it so that it stays pristine.
Yeah, shadow boxed, hung it up in the rafters.
Yep. Well deserved.
Of the practice gym, because of course.
Well deserved.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I put a lot of work in to get my ankles broken by Dev Workman and April back in the day, and have some randomly impressive moments that came out of nowhere.
Someone had to do it.
Yeah, just random spurts of wait, he can sometimes play basketball. And
wait, he can put that ball through that hoop?
The guy who can't remember a single play, he can do things. So yeah, that's basically all we've got, folks. Not much actual analysis, but good times. Getting ready for the holidays. Do you have any work parties coming up?
Yes, our happy hours next week. My wife's was tonight. That's why she was walking in after 9:30 on a weekday. When she's normally in bed an hour before 9:30. So one of those nights. But yeah, mine's next Wednesday. What about you?
Yeah, also next Wednesday. So got that to look forward to. Do you want to talk about the Eagles at all? we can skip right past that. I don't want to talk about Steelers, but I figured you might want to vent a little bit.
Um,
No.
yeah, there's not much to vent about. I just kind of expected our ass to get kicked by the Cowboys, honestly, after the 49ers game. I I've I think I said this to you off pod, but I keep coming back to like, are we just the Vikings from last year? We were kind of winning all these one possession games somewhat, and luck was always seemed to be on our side. I don't know. I can't get away from that thought. So yeah, not feeling great. Not feeling great.
Yeah.
But we have a easier ish schedule coming up after the Seahawks game. Even the Seahawks game we should win, but I'm not saying that's an easy game. But then after that we have play the Giants twice and Cardinals, I think, is left on the schedule.
Gotta watch out about those Giants, man. You know.
Yeah, and it's a division game. Like I'm not necessarily looking past them either. Even if they weren't playing well, like division games are always weird, especially in the Beast.
Yeah.
And for my sake, I still think you're probably the third. Like, I think it is 49ers, Cowboys, then you guys.
Yeah. And we have right now we're playing the worst ball. So it's easy to put us third right now. I think they have a chance to figure it out, but I don't know. Linebacker's an issue.
Yep. And that's a strength on the other two. So
And when you're signing a guy in Shaq Leonard who had 2 back surgeries and got cut by his like drafted team, like kind of a legend there over the last few years. Yeah, it's not a good sign.
yeah. And we signed Miles Jack out of retirement, I think, but he still hasn't seen the field because that's how bad our linebacker core is.
Was it this year that I think he was a practice or the
I think
Eagles signed him
preseason. Yeah.
preseason and then he quit.
Yeah, he retired.
Okay, yeah, and then I was like, oh, I feel kind of insulted that he wanted to come back in the middle of the season, but
I think he realized he wasn't getting any playing time with you guys, and we're desperate enough where
he would have played.
Would he have?
We're desperate.
So are we right now, and he's still not seeing the field. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it's a doozy.
yeah, football not as great as Duquesne basketball. So let's focus on
Those winning teams, and hopefully the Eagles can turn it around. I can tell you this.
You
I
don't
don't
really
think-
mean that.
No, I do, because the Steelers are definitely not making a run this year. So I'm all on board.
Is
Fly
Pickett
Eagles,
still
fly.
out? Is he out?
He's going to be out until probably the last week of the regular season, in which case, what's the
won't.
point?
Okay, all right, fair.
Yeah. So it's the Mitch Trubisky show. Everybody's rooting for Rudolph to show up for some Christmas magic.
I think we have to end it there. I think there's no other way. It can't go up from there.
no. All right.
And with that, let's go Dukes.
Go Dukes.
The Dukes are back and now it's time to rise up. Rise up. Rise up.